Welcome back to Oviya's Artistic Arena. Let us dive deep into the chapter Force and Pressure. In the previous video, we had seen the definition of force. Force is simply a push or a pull. We had also seen multiple examples of forces which helped us understand better about force. Let us move ahead. Forces require interaction. Whenever two objects are in contact, they apply forces on each other. This is what we call interaction. Forces require interaction to be applied or exerted. On the basis of this interaction, we can classify forces as contact force and non-contact force. In this video, we shall focus on contact force. The forces that occur when the objects are in direct contact between each other is called contact force. Contact force has two main examples: frictional force and muscular force. Now, let's say you want to use this magnifying glass. You must lift it with your hand in order to use it. We can clearly see here that there is direct contact between your hand and the magnifying glass. And this contact is very much necessary in order to perform this particular action. Let us look at the first example of contact force, the frictional force. Do you ride a bicycle? Do you know what makes it very easy for us to move in a bicycle? Let me tell you. Whenever we use a bicycle, the wheels push the ground in the backward direction. The ground, in turn, pushes us in the forward direction, causing us to easily move. This frictional force is very much necessary for us to perform even the easiest day-to-day activities, such as running, jumping, walking, and much more. When we walk, our feet pushes the ground in the backward direction. Again, the ground in turn pushes us in the forward direction, causing us to easily walk. In both the previous examples, we had seen that the ground pushes us in the forward direction, causing us to easily move. This force that is exerted by the ground on us is called the frictional force, or simply the friction. Until now, we only saw examples of frictional force that is exerted by the ground, or simply the friction on land. But what about frictional force in liquids or frictional force in water? Let us find that out through a simple example of swimming. Whenever we swim, we push the water in the backward direction using our hands and feet. When we push, we exert muscular force on the water, and in turn, the water pushes us in the forward direction. The force exerted by the water on our body is simply the friction or frictional force. In the previous example, I had mentioned the word muscular force. What is this muscular force? Let us quickly recall the examples we had seen in the previous video: pushing, kicking, moving, plucking, and hitting. These are examples of some actions which require the movement of our body parts, or simply, they require the movement of our muscles. These are simply the examples of muscular force. The forces generated when our body is in contact with the object is called muscular force. Let us make this easier. The forces which require the movement of our muscles or our body parts is called muscular force. We use muscular force in most of our day-to-day activities. Even animals use muscular force to perform various difficult activities. One such example is the bullock cart. The oxen uses the muscular force to pull the cart after the load has been placed on the cart. Now, pause the video and try to answer these simple questions.